back. What are we now? We're on Thursday. I'm gonna go over today's trading and today's loss. Very minimal loss, minus 74 pips and £11. And you know, to be honest, there's a mix of things involved in this, and yeah, it's caused me to ask a few questions. Really, it's like, firstly, I was going through with CoPilot all the different things that I wanted to trade and what I didn't want to trade, the types of market conditions, and I just kept spotting inconsistencies in, the information I was giving it and the information it was referring to, like little things when I'd be like, give me a summary of this week's trades, and it would say, Monday short loss, and then I'd have to say, that was this one, remember? And then it would be like, okay, actually, yeah, you're right. And this is what it was. So, initial look into my analysis today was a bit skewed, and there were thoughts of uncertainty. And at the end of it, I just got emotional and started chasing profits when didn't need to, mate. Bloody didn't need to. Um, Fortunately, though, we have minimized risk. So as you see now, it was like what, an £11 stop loss. So it's not much in the big scheme of things. So in terms of what I was looking at, I didn't really know what I was looking at, and I think this is one of the main reasons why I got it wrong today. It is the main reason why I got it wrong today. Last few days I've been trading with the AI, sort of clipping different trades together, and it feels like I've gone back a step a little bit. Now, whether, this is a learning curve or this is a clear signal to reevaluate after just a few trades, I'm not sure yet. But I'm thinking of both things. And I'll just give an example before we get into the charts. Oh, it's a bit bright. So, you know what I mean? This is me talking about things, your actual week. Like, do you know what I mean? Trade 2 was an SL early entry. Where are you pulling this information from? Where it said trade 2 winner, partial and management. What? Like, do you know what I mean? So there was multiple points where this happened today. There was like 4 or 5 different points where I just sort of caught it out, and I was like, oh, that's not right. That's not right. And that was then leading to me questioning the accuracy of the information that I'm getting back, the accuracy of the information I'm providing, and ultimately the results that's going to bring. Noting that these are live funds that I'm trading, this is live capital. I don't want to be fucking about. Do you know what I mean? It needs to be systematic, it needs to be structured, and it needs to be on point. So at this point in time, I'm done for the week. I will reevaluate, have another look. We'll probably do a few more trades with CoPilot, just because it does provide some helpful information at times. And then, yeah, so in terms of an actual summary for the week, Monday was an accidental full close. Wednesday was early and we didn't have the right confirmation. Stop loss hit, and today was just emotional. I was long, my stop loss hit because I trimmed it so much. Price did eventually retrace from that stop loss and then go in the direction that I wanted it to go. So yeah, even though that happened, it's like, well, where would have my entry been, and what sort of shit am I looking at? So put one of these in quick so we can lock in. Yeah, so there are points where the information I'm providing it, I've now got confirmed, where if we look at the news today, 19. Hit refresh on that. So Trump spoke at 2 a.m. UK time. I was not informed of this when I first put the request for news on the day, potential moves. And yeah, I just sort of called that out. So that is now set in place, or hopefully set in place. I mentioned if it's happened previously in the day or if it's upcoming in the day, then I will be wanting that confirmation that that is happening, because I don't really want to trade days where he speaks. FOMC, same again. And yeah, just another point that I'm looking at here is it's telling me there was a reaction off my fair value gap, or price tapped the fair value gap. This here, that's not the fair value gap being tapped. So it's like, yeah. But anyway, before we go more into AI, we had CPI today, had a 115 news release for Euro, and we had unemployment. I think in terms of the actual news drivers, it's at what, 1:30, so this would have been 8:30, 9:30 there. So 8:30 saw this candle here, big move up from what was otherwise, fairly flat. Yeah, I think use of SMT today would have been a bit more helpful. The main point being, if we'd stuck to the model, then we would have had possibly an inverse fair value gap. Yeah. Not quite. Kind of here. Hourly. It's more like a wick. Yeah, it would have looked more like a model buy day today. So that would have been there. Break structure here. Fair value gap here. Entry off that. Target previous daily high, which we're granted not at yet. You know what I mean? So we'd still be trading there. But yeah, like I say, it was just sort of a bit all over the place for me today. I was just not really a great psychology day at all. And yeah, the results show that. In terms of what I was looking at, why was I unsure? If we look at the 4 hour, still pretty bearish, I think depending on where this 4 hour closes, if we close above this here on the 4 hour, then we can sort of anticipate further moves upwards, and we can sort of take that as like, the next leg up. But unless we get that validation, that confirmation that price is now breaking this structure here, I'm still a bit bearish and should maybe step aside until that time comes. And then on the hourly, I marked out this fair value gap, and what I was anticipating was during the AM session for price to come up here, we get a nice reaction off the fair value gap, and then enter short off this. I was hoping for, something a bit cleaner where we just come like that, maybe wick this fair value gap, come back down. Although, to be fair, looking at this, it could possibly happen. This could be an entry here. But then again, I'm just not really sure. So this is literally my brain saying, step away from it. Give it some time. Markets move. There's always going to be another trade. And relax. Do you know what I mean? It's not every day's a day to trade. And I've noticed that since implementing AI, I've been trying to trade more and not as consistently as I wanted to be. But yeah, what happened was, as I mentioned, we got this wick here, reaction off it. And I noted these two 15-minute fair value gaps. And ideally, I was a bit uncertain, on this. On the 15-minute, you see it's a bit more of a consolidation. But on the 5-minute, we're looking at this. I was looking for maybe a reaction off this. And then I was looking at this break here, this close above this wick. And realistically, that's not enough of a move away. And that's where I was chasing the move. In terms of entries, you know, I went with this on this retracement on the 1 minute into this, which, what the fuck is that? In hindsight, what the fuck is that? That's not an entry. Get swept, son. Do you know what I mean? But yeah, the initial position was, see, I sort of strayed away from AI and just went with my instinct here. So this was the initial position, 116 for 155. And I was very, very aggressive trimming the stop on this because I knew that I was not in the right headspace. But I think the positives to take away here are, you know, the fact that I identified that although I didn't stay out, I managed the risk and minimized it. So today could have been a much bigger loss, and it ultimately wasn't. And I was just sort of going with the ebbs and flows of price. Like we were running about £30 profit, and I was looking at this inverse fair value gap here, thinking, you know, do we continue through that and then retrace? So ultimately, what should have, well, actually, before we get into that, as we were going up, first trim was here, £58. Second trim, 28 or £27, and then the third trim, which I got out, well, I got niced on it pretty much about £11 here. So just before that'll be the spread difference where I get stopped out. But yeah, that was the trade. And yeah, what would have been better in hindsight is, you know, looking at this inverse fair value gap, waiting for the reaction off of this. So what would have been nice would have been, if we just mark this as an inverse, this would have confirmed the bullish bias. So price taps it, trades down into this sort of zone here, into this fair value gap that's already been tapped. I was also conscious that we may come back down into this. So that's where a bit more confusion came in, because I wanted to target up here / take a short off here. And then, you know, we trade up through this. I'm not sure, maybe on this is where, like, maybe on the seconds chart you'd get the scalp, and then I don't really know where you would put your stop loss. So it's not a massively perfect trade, maybe just underneath. I don't know, where would you put it? Like, this is what I mean. It wouldn't even be massively clear here. So again, pointing out the flaws in today's trading. And then from here, yeah, this was I was just sort of looking at this like, well, that's what I wanted to see happen from this. And obviously markets do what markets do, and we got swept. So yeah, lovely, really nice. Looking at this, it's a bit weird. I don't really like how this is formed here. I suppose this candle's sort of closed below, so you could be bearish here to target this down here. Relative equal lows, possibly. That's already swept. So the S&P actually went deeper into that imbalance and took it. So that could be used as a confluence there. But again, there's just a lot of things being considered here, and it's just like too many different factors going into a trade idea. Like, for example, we could even see this come down here, tap this, and then continue up. So, you know, lots to learn. A couple positives to take away, mainly on risk. Well, it's a double-edged sword, isn't it? It's like, I managed my risk and trimmed it, but I still broke my rules and got in. So take what you want from either of that. It's still, oh, hang on. To be fair though, we look at that. We'll see what we'll do. What I'll do is I'll look at how this reacts from this zone here, whether it bounces and continues, or whether it trades down, up, down into here. But I don't think it needs to come down here because of the fact that S&P did it, or maybe, you know, price is lagging a bit and it will come down. Like on the S&P, price already traded up above this sort of zone, which on the Nasdaq was around here plus this. So that was like at this point here, I was looking at this and I was like, well, S&P's already filled this. Nasdaq will probably drop a bit. But then we saw Nasdaq trade up afterwards, so it was a bit delayed. So S&P's already come down here. Maybe we see this go down, but again, it's not hugely clear. I think even just the way I'm explaining this, it's all over the place. It's all over the place. And yeah, just not a great psychology day, really. So it leaves me asking quite a few questions and leaves me with a few things to look at and review. Like, what time are we in at the moment? We are coming up to 1 o'clock, New York. You know, is this a retracement over the lunch hour? What are we seeing here? So, yeah, it's just very strange. Like I say, I'll try have a look tomorrow, but I probably won't be on my computer. I've got the day off work, and I'll be quite busy during the day, so it's just one of those. Well, and yeah, I mean, it's one of those, isn't it? What else is there to say? 74 pips gone, £11. So that brings us to, for the week, minus 28 quid. For the month, does that bring us in the red? So we're still green on a month, and instead of £21 green, we're now £10 green. So, you know, especially coming up to Christmas as well, something to consider. More consolidation. Markets will be, I don't know. So, with all this in mind, I'm basically considering, do I step away until the new year, give it a bit of time, or, well, like I did last year. So similar to this time last year, I made my first video where I moved to the live account and I mentioned that I would be trading on the live account after trading demo. Or, you know, do I revert back to my model? Do I look at something new? What do I consider? So I think I'm just going to have to come away for a bit, have a little think. Not get too beat up by this as well, because it was a minimal loss. It was just a bad day. Bad days happen. It's part of the game. It's part of trading. But yeah, this is interesting me at the moment. So, yesterday as well was a big move day. There was a lot of, you know, news reaction. And yeah, I think, well, we've got these relative equal lows down here on the S&P. They have been there. Do we have that on, no, on the Nasdaq we had that. S&P swept, but these are still untouched. So what I'm going to do is, I'm going to take, what, should I clear the charts? Should I just clear the charts? Whoopsie daisy. So we go on a 4 hour. Yes, this is Nasdaq. What I'm going to do, I'm going to clear the charts. Let's just start with a fresh slate. We're doing this live. I'm going to mark this out again. Like so. So this remains the main point of focus, and we're going to put that in green. Like so, that's text. 4 hour POI. Background, green. Text in the middle. Okay. S&P, what are we going to do? We got all of this. Oops. Is it same again? Are we going to clear this? Yeah, so we're going to start completely fresh. That way, when I come into it, I've got clean eyes. I know what I'm looking at. I will mark out these relative equal lows. And we will put okay. 15-minute IFEG there. I think that should do it. So there we go. This is what the charts are looking like now. Keep it simple. Less noise, less indecision, more accuracy. And yeah, simple. Lost for words. What else is there to say? What else is there to say? Right, so what I'm going to be looking for also is I'm going to mark out this high. This is the 4-hour high. I'm just going to leave that there. And I think that's 4-hour high. Yeah, so we want to see a break of this. Then we can consider bullish moves. That's the takeaways. Okay. I'm going to head down to the gym. I'm going to get myself sorted. And yeah, with that being said, I will come back either tomorrow or on the weekend and just go over Friday stuff. And yeah, everything in mind. Let's come back stronger. Have a good one.